We're gonna be spilling some tea today. Hello everyone and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Matt, and in today's video we're gonna be talking about some houseplants that I will not be repurchasing in the future. Now, of course, never say never. I often say that I won't do something or that I don't like something, and then I end up doing the thing and I end up liking the thing. So I just want to preface this video with saying that just because I'm talking smack about these plants right now and how I will probably not be repurchasing them anytime soon, doesn't mean that one day I won't fall into the trap of owning them again. Because most of these plants I don't actually like hate. I just have issues with growing them. In my conditions currently, I don't think me and these plants can be friends. These are all plants that I used to have, that I had for maybe like a couple of months, some even a couple of years, and then either they died or I just got bored of them and gave them away, or some of them did end up in the compost. I'm sorry, I know, but I really want to just normalize that it's okay to throw away a plant. If it's not bringing you joy, just chuck it to the wind. It's all right, it's just a plant. And this hobby has so many ups and downs, and I think it's just completely normal to fall out of love with the plant because our taste level changes, because the amount of time we have available to take care of our plants changes. It's totally normal to fall out of love with certain plant at certain points. Without further ado, grab yourself a nice little cup of tea because we will be spilling some tea, and let's get this party started. Also, I will be looking at my phone, so I do apologize if that is bothering you, but that's the only way this is gonna happen because my memory is crap. I actually don't have any pictures of when I used to own these plants because I'm just not one of those people that takes a lot of photos. However, I'm just gonna go off from Google. I remember what they were behaving like in my environment. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be going off of. And the first one I have to talk about is kind of a category because I'm not sure what exact species I had, but it is pink aglaonemas. You know what I'm talking about. It's those aglaonemas with that bright pink reddish color. I actually used to own two. Both of them croaked. I don't know what is up with that plant because aglaonemas on the whole are such a easy genus. I have a couple of aglaonemas. I have a silver bay, I have a diamond bay, I have a pictum tricolor. This Sansevieria is pissing me off. Can you stop poking me? Thank you. I have a couple of aglaonemas and none of them, literally, I have no issues with any of them. They rarely lose leaves. They're not dramatic about drying out. They grow pretty consistently. They can tolerate a lot of neglect, not the greatest conditions, which is great. And I love aglaonemas for those exact features because they are such an easy plant, but they add something really fun, painterly. It's kind of like a lower maintenance version of a calathea. However, for some reason, the pink/red aglaonemas, I don't know what is up with those plants, but they were just melting on me. They would constantly melt. Even though their root systems were fine, they would just melt. Now, of course, it could be that I gave them too much water. Maybe I didn't give them enough water. Maybe I gave them too little light. Usually these like highly variegated, colorful plants need a lot of light. And I will admit that I don't have like the best lighting conditions. It used to live like in my west facing window and it's still croaked. I truly don't know what is up with that plant. It was not cute. And at one point I got really fed up with it. It looked horrible. It literally had like maybe one leaf left and I just threw it out. That was the first one that I had. Then I got a second one and the second one did the same thing. I'm not one for like super colorful red, pink plants. When I first started getting into this hobby, I was one of those people that, you know, wanted to collect them all like freaking Pokemon. I definitely bought that plant just because it was like something new and something unique. I would probably not purchase this plant again just because it doesn't really fit the vibe that I'm going for. I'm not really interested in red plants. It's just one that I had a difficult time with, so I'm honestly not even interested in trying it again. Now, I did have that plant at the beginning of my planty journey, and obviously we all have humble beginnings where we kill a lot of plants, and this hobby is very much a lot of trial and error. And maybe nowadays with all my, newfound knowledge when it comes to the plant hobby, maybe I would be able to actually keep one alive and thriving. However, I don't know, like aesthetically, it just doesn't fit my vibe. And I love pink and I love red as like colors. I think they're gorgeous colors. I don't know if you can see, but I have like some red frames over there on that wall, and I think it's gorgeous. I love a pop of red, but for some reason in plants, it just feels off. I'm definitely a green plant girly through and through. I love my green plants. I love my silver plants. I love my dark plants, just the things we all love. I'm not the biggest fan of like super colorful or bright plants, and that plus the hard time that I had with this plant is the reason that I will not be repurchasing it. Next up on my list is actually a plant I kind of like still, and I would repurchase it. However, this one is Chroma. It's Chroma. And I'm talking about the parlor palm, another one that I got at the beginning of my journey when I didn't know much about palms, and nowadays I know that palms are not meant for the indoors. They're meant for the outdoors where they can get a lot of sun, a lot of humidity, a lot of good things they need. Indoors, I think palms just suffer unless you have like great, amazing conditions and like huge west-facing windows or like a greenhouse or whatever. Then palms will probably do amazing. But in my case, I have none of that. I have none of that, and I should just stay away from palms. But the parlor palm is actually one that can survive in lower light, and mine was actually doing pretty well. And again, I do like the look of palms, and the parlor palm is really fun. It's really like thin, delicate leaves, just gives sort of that jungly, bushy vibe, and it's a gorgeous plant in my opinion. However, I had my first and biggest thrips infestation on that plant. It was disgusting. It was vile. It was disturbing. Now, in general, a lot of you know that I have a very laid back approach to pests. Like, I'm not too fussed if I see a thrip, if I see a spider mite. I don't panic. I just deal with it. But this plant was covered. It was freaking covered. It was nasty, so nasty. And back in the day, I didn't really know how to even approach taking care of thrips. I knew that you need to continuously treat it, that they lay their legs, that they laid their eggs, and that you just basically have to continuously treat it over and over and over again. But this plant was literally covered, and it was nasty. And if you know like palms, and especially the parlor palm, it has so many crevices. It has thin, delicate leaves. The leaves were so damaged. I was just, I could not deal with that. So what I did is I walked my little tushy up to my compost bin and I just threw it inside there. I was like, honey, goodbye. We had a nice run. You go hang out with God because you are not staying in my house, okay? You are not staying in my house with that thrips infestation. I yeeted that thing so fast and I don't regret it. And I would love to have one, but just that thrips event has literally traumatized me, and just thinking about it, oh, I don't. And that's the reason why I will probably not repurchase a parlor palm. Plus, I don't think I have the conditions to have a palm indoors. I would love to have palms in my collection. I think they are gorgeous. However, I just currently don't have the conditions for them. One day when I maybe hopefully move, which I don't know if that will ever happen because the market is insane. Apartments are so expensive. Houses are even more, and I'm just like, Next up on my list is a Hoya, actually, which might be surprising because I have been having the Hoya fever as of lately. I mean, I freaking love Hoya, but this one, it's the Hoya australis. It's the Hoya australis, and I'm talking about the regular one. I'm not talking about the Lisa, and let me actually show you my Lisa. Here she is, and I featured this plant quite a lot because I think she is one of my favorite Hoyas. I absolutely love her. She is a beast, and Delisa is basically the australis with inner variegation. But I'm talking about the regular green australis that is absolutely boring. I am sorry, it's just such a boring plant. This is another one that I bought like at the beginning of my journey, and I actually just recently got rid of it because I don't know, it didn't have any issues ever. I never had pests on her. She was very tolerant. She could survive, not thrive, in basically a no light spot. I barely watered her. Her soil was always like rock solid hard. She just wouldn't die, honestly. She just wouldn't die, and I just had to make the executive decision to get rid of her. I just had to. And I did try to save her. I did try to grow her out and make her look nice. Like, I took some cuttings, I rooted them, and just I was looking at these cuttings every day, taking care of them, watering them. I was just like, this is not doing anything. This is not doing anything for me. And I just decided to get rid of the plant. It's just boring. It's just boring. That's it. That's my explanation for that one. It's just boring. It doesn't do anything for me. There are so many amazing, lovely Hoya varieties that I would much rather have in my collection than one that just doesn't bring me joy. That is such a great telltale sign. If you're not caring for a plant and if you're constantly neglecting it, I think it's a good time to ask yourself, do I really care for this plant? Do I really want this plant in my collection? Because for me, if I'm not taking proper care of a plant for like a long time, I'm not talking about, you feel overwhelmed and then all of your plants suffering, but if you have a plant that you are just neglecting for months on end, I think it's time to say goodbye. There are just so many lovely plants in the world that you could be growing instead of just holding on to that one plant that you don't even like, and you're just holding on to it just because it's alive and just because you had it for a long time. I think that's something we all suffer with, and I think we definitely have problems letting go. I encourage you to go through your collection, look at all your plants, and see who is bringing you joy and who is not bringing you joy, and maybe just get rid of like one or two plants that are not bringing you joy, because trust me, you will feel so much better. And guess what? If you remove a plant, that means you have space for a new one. So yay, new plants are always such a joyful event. So I definitely encourage you to do so. The next one on my list is one that I mentioned in my plants I hate video, and it is the Monstera Peru. I used to own one, and again, this is one that I bought pretty early on in my plant collecting journey, and that plant is a nightmare. At least it was for me. I know people have success with that plant. I know some people grow it to be beautiful and large and gorgeous and have no issues with it whatsoever, but I had nothing but issues with that plant. Nothing but issues. First of all, looking at pictures online and seeing the texture online, it looks really, really cool, but in real life, I was kind of let down. Like, I was kind of disappointed. It didn't deliver. It didn't deliver what ought to be delivered. It was such a boring plant to me. Again, I was neglecting it like crazy, which is probably part of the issue, but it just didn't do anything for me visually. The texture of it, like when you touch it, I don't know, it's just like a thick piece of cardboard. It didn't tickle any of my senses. Listen, if you're not gonna tickle any of my senses, then get the hell out of here. And I have one major issue with that plant, and it is that it loves to run. It loves to throw out those long ass vines with literally no leaves, and I get so mad. I get so mad when plants just run for miles and miles on end, and they just don't push out a single freaking leaf, or like they have a huge ass runner and they have just and then they just have the tiniest little leaf, and I'm like, go to hell, okay, go to hell, pack your bags, get the hell out of here, because I cannot stand runners. I literally want to take that plant and yeet it out the window. That's how pissed off it makes me. That's how pissed off runners make me. Oh, I'm heated just thinking about a runner. I'm heated. But that plant loves to run, and I got tired of it. I got tired of it, and the straw that broke the camel's back was definitely it getting thrips, because that plant got thrips, and because it has so many like tiny little crevices between those like bubbles, I was just like, I'm never gonna get rid of it. And I tried for a couple of months, and whenever I thought that I won and that I got rid of them, they would just always return, and I was just tired of it. It never gave me like a big, beautiful, large leaf. Now, granted, I never put it on a moss pole, but I cannot put every single plant in my collection on a moss pole. Like, I have about 10 moss poles, I believe, right now in my collection. Let me actually count. I'm actually curious. I never counted how many moss poles I have. I have 12 plants on moss poles. That is too many. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't have the time to take care of so many moss poles. They are, I mean, I guess they're not a lot of work, but they are work. You know, they are additional work, and I'm just not, no, too much. That one was just not a plant that I was interested in having on a moss pole. It was not a plant that I was interested in seeing how it's gonna size up and grow, because there are definitely plants that I love having on moss poles because I want to see like their full potential and unlock like those big giant leaves. But the Monstera Peru just wasn't one of those plants. I wanted it mostly for the texture, and the texture was kind of, I don't know, I guess the texture was fine. I just did not enjoy the growth pattern of it. If it had the ability to grow as like a nice trailing plant and still give me like those big bubbly leaves, I would probably love that plant, but as is, it's just boring. The variegated variety is very popular right now, but honestly, I think that one is just kind of ugly. I'm sorry. I just think it's kind of ugly. That is my opinion, as always. And now the last one. And I think we are all gonna agree with this plant because it's something. And it is, of course, it's the Philodendron Pink Princess. Like, how can I talk about plants that I struggled with? Plants that gave me hell. Plants that pushed me to the edge of sanity. How can I talk about those plants without mentioning the Pink Princess? She is at the top of the list. I cannot with the Pink Princesses. They are such little deceiving, manipulative bitches. Online, they look gorgeous. They look stunning with their beautiful sectoral pink variegation. It's literally, on paper, it's a dream plant, but in person, I struggled with that plant so much. The leaves would get stuck. It would get thrips. The pink variegation would disappear. It would turn brown. It looked nasty. The growth pattern was yucky. That plant gives me so many bad feelings and I don't like it. On paper, it's such a beautiful plant, and if I had a beautiful specimen, I would love it. However, I just struggled so much with that plant. I struggled so much with that plant that I don't even want to try again. Now, I would maybe consider adding the pink marble to my collection because I think that one has like more beautiful, stable variegation, but I don't know. Like, I have a white princess because I thought that one would be a lot easier to grow because it's like more green, but honestly, I have the same struggles with it, and I'm just like, I'm not interested in the princesses, okay? They're divas, and they don't grow nicely for me. Now, I know that some people have beautiful specimens, plants by Melissa. She has gorgeous pink princesses, and if I could have a pink princess like hers, I would love it. But I just had such a terrible time with the pink princess that I don't even want to look at that plant. I don't want to touch it. I don't want it anywhere near me. For that reason, I will probably not be repurchasing that plant. Even though I would love to have one. I would love to have a pretty pink princess because I think they're gorgeous, but just no, ma'am. No freaking ma'am. No way. I'm not falling down that rabbit hole again. I'm really not gonna. I'm gonna try not to fall down that rabbit hole again. What are some plants that you used to own and would not consider repurchasing again? And what are some plants that you would actually repurchase again? I am dying to know. So please leave your answers in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for future chatty videos like these, I love making these videos and it seems like they're performing pretty well. So I assume people like watching them. So if you have any topic ideas for these chit-chatty, sit-downy videos, I would also love to hear those in the comment section below. I hope you have a super fabulous, amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. I cannot with the pink princess. I cannot. I'm sorry. I cannot. I need to go. I need to go.